What's going on, Palm Coast, Florida? This is the young Professor Matt Graver with the Florida Ambassador Media Group, and I am sitting here today with a very, very special guest from the Palm Coast Fire Department. This is Mr. Dan Driscoll. Dan, how are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
Now, we're here because Dan is in charge of something that's been going on for the last 18 years here in Palm Coast, Florida. That would be the Hall of Terror, brought to you by our fire department. Tell us, what's the Hall of Terror?
Well, the Hall of Terror is the City of Palm Coast's longest running event and also highest attended event. It's a haunted house built completely inside a fire station, and it's all put together by firefighters, both volunteer and career, and then some volunteers throughout the community that come in and help out. But basically, it's an immersive experience that gives you like theme park quality haunted house, but completely free to the public. It's always been free to the public, and we're going to keep it that way.
So what nights do we typically see this happen on?
Opening night is October 30th. We run from 7 to 10 o'clock, and then again on Halloween, same time from 7 to 10 o'clock.
So how long have you been involved with the Hall of Terror here?
So I've been involved since I got started in 2009, and then I took over as director of the program in 2012.
Now, each year you usually have a different theme. I know this year's theme is going to be a popular one.
Yeah.
We're doing Stranger Things this year, so a lot of the younger demographic might be into that, but even older. I mean, that's one of the hottest shows on Netflix.
I didn't think we'd have trouble getting people come out
Right.
this year for that theme.
What are some other themes you guys have done in past years?
One of my personal favorites, we did A Night at the Movies, where it featured some of the most famous characters from the slasher movies of the 80s and 90s.
Nice.
A couple years back, we did an entire Stephen King theme, and each one of the rooms was a different one of his stories, both books and movie themes.
Nice, yeah.
Last year was pretty cool. We did extraterrestrial alien invasion, so we had spaceships and different characters from pop culture and stuff like that. So it's usually one big theme, and then I try to drop in just different characters that kind of fit that genre.
So how long does something like this take to develop each year, maybe? So when do you guys start putting it together? Or let's maybe take it back further. Conceptualization, I mean, for 18 years you guys have been doing it, so when do you start really planning that year's event?
Well, the beauty of it is we kind of got it down to a system where the basic layout is the same every year, and all we change is the theme of the room and a couple, little tweaks here and there. So that isn't too difficult because it takes place in the same place every year. But when it comes to like the theme and the overall execution, I usually start sometime around June or July of the same year. I have a meeting with my team and we talk about, okay, here's some of the ideas. What do we think we're going to need logistically and supply-wise? And then from there, it's just picking things up as we go along. And once we hit October, we hit the ground running. Oddly enough, we started construction on Saturday, the 26th, and then we'll be open for the 30th.
Wow.
So 4 days, we knocked out quite a bit of work.
So how many folks do you have working on that just for the construction in that short span of time?
So the first day of construction, which is basically all the walls going together and some basic pieces and parts, we usually run about 6 to 8 guys and girls just come out and put it all together. We found that less is more because we kind of have a system and we have that group of guys that just are great and they know what they're doing. And then throughout the rest of the 3 or 4 days, we'll have anywhere from 10 to 20 people at a time, just hammering and painting and gluing and anything we can make happen. Some days there's 2 or 3, some days there's 15.
So what made you go with Stranger Things this year?
How can I not? Yeah, season 3 just came out, very well received. Universal Studios has that as part of their entertainment and stuff, so it's a popular theme. I enjoy it. I know most of the cast members that are helping out enjoy it. This is one of the first years where when I ask people, hey, can you help me out with this? And I said, they say, what are you doing? I said, Stranger Things. And I just had people lining up to help. So
Funny how that works.
Yeah. When it's a little more niche and it's something that I love, it might be a little more obscure. It's, well, what is that? I don't know what that is. Don't worry, I'll get you there to do what you got to do. But when I said Stranger Things, I didn't have to explain anything. Everybody was lining up.
So is it safe to say you've always been a Halloween guy?
Oh yeah.
What would some of your favorite movies and all that be?
I like the classics. I like the Universal monsters, the old black and white films. You know, your Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney and those guys. I love that stuff. I'm probably the only one when you go to Universal Studios goes to like the old Hollywood area and look at some of that stuff. But you know, I grew up with the same stuff that most people my age with. You know, the slasher films of the '80s, Friday the 13th, Halloween, and stuff like that. You know, some of the newer stuff, Rob Zombie and stuff. I like some of that stuff. You know, it's not as cool as the black and white stuff,
Right.
but nobody likes that stuff with me. But
There's still a market out there for it.
yeah.
Now you talked about the walls and all the storage. Now, what's interesting to note is that this is actually happening in one of our fully functional fire stations, fire station number 21.
Yep.
And we were talking about this a little bit earlier before we sat down here. So this is still a functioning fire station. It's not shutting down for the event. How does that all work?
No, yeah, it fully functioning. You know, they don't skip a beat. The guys, they still operate here, and you know, we have a really good understanding of, you know, respecting the on-duty crew's personal space so that they can continue to do what they do relatively uninterrupted. You know, they keep doing what they're doing, and those guys, most of them will help me out even when they're on duty in between calls and stuff like that. This is the busiest house in the county, so you know, it's not often they get some downtime, but whatever downtime they have, they give me a hand out there, and you know, they're just excited about it as I am. You know, and I'm stationed here every third day too, so you know, I couldn't ask for a better crew of guys that just, you know, fully support the project and never really seem to act put out or anything like that.
No, that's great. Now, you mentioned all the construction of the walls, and if you guys haven't seen it, it's pretty extensive, so I imagine you don't keep all of that here. Where does all this stuff go during the year when we're not doing the Hall of Terror?
So the city supplies a storage unit for all the stuff to go in there, and it's specifically budgeted by me for the show every year, and that's really our only expense. You know, it's just the storage of all the material. Everything else, we work off some awesome donations and sponsors every year that do a great job of taking care of us to make sure that we keep that cost down, so we're not using tax money, you know, extraneously.
So how I know you said a lot of people come through. We were talking about it. It's pretty impressive. About how many folks actually come through these houses, and how long can folks expect to maybe wait in line when they get here?
So over the 2 nights, we'll see anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 people. Most of the time we see about a third of it the first night and then 2/3 of it the second night. But the beautiful thing is the way it's set up and the time intervals we use to send people in so that our actors have enough time to set and reset, you're never going to wait more than about an hour.
No, that's great.
Yeah, that's about your longest wait time you're going to see. And that's going to be like peak time Halloween night. So if you can come out early and come on the 30th, if you're crunched for time, that's going to be your best bet. But if you do come on Halloween, you're not going to wait more than an hour. It's going to be great to get you through real quick.
How about kids? I mean, this is a community event. Is there any particular instructions you want to give people as to who should attend this, or, you know,
Yeah,
discretion?
We usually like to say no kids under the age of 10, because some of the lighting effects and the smoke and some of the scares could be pretty intense. We're not going to tell you you can't take your child under 10 through there, but we are going to discourage it because it can be a little intense for the little ones and stuff like that. But we do have security and plenty of personnel around. That way, if someone were to get a little too scared or a little overwhelmed, we could get them out of there safely.
Any good, really funny scare stories from over the years while you've been involved?
Oh man, he'll kill me for telling this story, but that's okay. I'll do it anyways. So we had a really great year when we did, it was called the Carnival of Carnage. And we did a giant carnival fun house and stuff. And our deputy chief at the time, now fire chief, one of his props was, you know, a bell. He wanted it to look like the strongman where you hit the sledge and it goes up and hit the bell. He wired a 12-volt bell with 110 volts from the wall, and after about the 3rd ring, it was on fire. So we actually had a fire at the fire station. And but we got it taken care of pretty quick.
Sure.
I mean, you just couldn't ask for a better place to have a fire.
Right.
And so we laugh about it now. At the time, we were all kind of freaking out. You know, it's the first real emergency we had. And no, I mean, we have some good scares. You know, the public really gets energetic about it, and sometimes they get a little too scared, and we gotta move them along to make sure nobody gets hurt, the actors and the public. But yeah, it's a good time. It's fun to, yeah, I usually am in the background watching somewhere, and it's really fun to watch some people react sometimes.
So you're not usually one of the scare actors yourself?
No, the first couple of years before I took over, I did some roles in it, and it was a good time. Long days, but a lot of fun. But now where I have to kind of organize everything, it's too much to also try to act. And maybe one day I'll find a protege to take over for me, and I'll go back to acting.
Right. Now, so you're big on all the design. Anything you want folks to know? We were talking a little bit about all the detail that you incorporate. It's usually kind of a quick run through, but anything you want to tell people about the details in the houses?
Yeah, well, it's funny. Every year I do two things, and I usually tease them on Facebook or wherever social media when we spread it out. One is I put clues to everything you're going to see in the house early on in one of the first couple of rooms. So if you look closely, you'll see little nods to what you might see later in the house. And then a lot of times I'll hide little Easter eggs either to the story or to something else. I know one year when we did the Carnival of Carnage, one of the movies with the Joker was coming out, so I hid some Joker stuff in there. So I usually hide some stuff in there. So keep an eye on the social media. I'll definitely throw a little hints out there, little spoilers, and see if you can't figure it out.
Nice, and that might be a reason for folks to maybe go both nights, because you'll go through the first time, and after the shock of it, you might have a better eye and look in those first couple rooms to see some of those Easter eggs come to life a little bit later. Anything else you want to share with us? I mean, 18 years, pretty good track record safety-wise. We're coming up on 20 years. Anything you want to add?
No, it's been pretty great, and I just look forward to everybody coming out and checking it out. Tell all your friends. If you got some friends that just moved here, like I'm telling you, you're gonna get theme park quality, for free, and you can go through as many times as you want to go through. Yeah, just come check it out, and we're getting ready to celebrate our 20th anniversary in a couple of years, so keep coming back, keep telling your friends. We just keep trying to make it bigger and better every year.
That's what it's all about. Well, Dan, thank you so much for your time. Folks, make sure you come out the night before Halloween, October 30th and October 31st, put on by the Palm Coast Fire Department and the City of Palm Coast. Dan, thanks so much for sitting with me.
Thank you, absolutely.
Happy Halloween, everybody. We'll see you soon.